we hope you listen close because that's the last time you'll ever hear James Stewart whining out a KX 125. After 2 motocross and 2 supercross titles, all in record-breaking performances, Stewart will compete in the 125 class for the final time today. But this week, it's on a 4-stroke. Bubba's last dance in the 125s is next on ESPN2. And welcome to Southern California on a beautiful, warm afternoon. This is the AMA Chevrolet Motocross Championship. And we have made it to the final round. This is the 9th annual Giant RV AMA Nationals at Glen, Helen, California. And we are just outside of San Bernardino, California. Todd Harris along with BJ Smith, Davey Coombs in the pits this week. And there he is, J-Bone, the man that keeps 259 running so smooth. Well, he's already clinched the title, BJ, so what's left for James Stewart?
Well, the only thing he's got to worry about right now is some hurricanes in Florida maybe taking down his house, because 525 points, he's got nothing to worry about.
I got power, you know.
As the Kawasaki boys stay under the umbrellas, Paul Carpenter on the right, Matt Walker sitting in the middle. Let's check in with Davey.
Well, normally we talk about James Stewart being the lone 125cc rider in the 125 class. That's not the case today. Bubba, you're riding the thumper.
Yeah, you know, trying something different, you know. It's just last race of the year, last 125 race, and, you know, just want to try the thumper out, you know, to be something good. I think I done brought the 2-stroke to the 125. Maybe I'll be the last guy to route to one that's good, but, you know, we'll see, and definitely be back on the 2-stroke for Anaheim.
Well, if you rode one more national, maybe we could get him to ride that bike back there. That would be cool.
A little present from Two Brothers Racing, a KLX Gold 110. How do you like that, Todd?
BJ, that is the definition of the bling bling. Speaking of which, the man who picks up the Rookie of the Year, number 60, Brock Hepler. And earlier, we talked to him about the honors.
Yeah, it's great to be Rookie of the Year. It's an honor to do that, and I'm happy. And I just want to continue my success this weekend at Glen Helen. Oh, I've learned so much. I'm going to have so much momentum next year. I can't wait, especially with the off season. I'm looking forward to that and dialing in my bike a little more. And we'll be set for Supercross.
And while Brock Hepler looks to the future here in the States, Mike Brown thinking about his journeys going over to Europe. Brownie making that decision earlier in the season, talking about going back to Europe. Here's his thoughts.
I've got a few offers from Europe, and you know, I think that's where I'm going to go. It's not because of the team. You know, I've really kind of burnt out here racing. You know, it's a lot of racing, and you know, I have a good offer to go there. So, you know, I think that's where I'm heading next year for sure. You know, I don't know. I wouldn't win another AMA National Championship, but, you know, if I can't do that, you know, try to win a World Championship, that would be good. You know, I'd like to have, say, you know, one day when I'm old and say I have a World Championship. That'd be great. And, you know, that's it. I'll go there for 2 years and, you know, see what I can do there.
As Bubba Stewart and Brownie almost collide coming back from parade lap, we get set for moto number 1. There's the weather, 93 degrees. Winds are out of the northwest at 9, not really a factor in the forecast for partly cloudy skies.
Helen, baby.
That's the truth. Well, this is the Thor Celebrity Crossover Challenge here in San Bernardino, California, Glen Helen. A lot of great athletes turning out: snowboarders, skateboarders, Victor Sheldon, Steve Caballero, and the man with no numbers, that's one of our producers, BJ Smith. And look at that. The boss is firing BJ, but he would come back to redeem himself, getting second place. But a great day that Thor put on. Pat Schutte and the company doing a great job. Everyone had a good time. And when it was all said and done, we were just happy no one got seriously injured. Well, BJ, now that you're off the track, give me a look at this in track facts. What do you see out there?
Well, this is Glen Helen, some of the longest lap times of the year, and a lot of different elements here. First corner, Talladega-like start. Go up a long hill, Mount St. Helens, come down, go right back up to Yamaha Hill. We got Budds Creek and we got a muddy straightaway. We got it all. And look who's back.
Josh Grant, number 386, out of California, back on top, Yucaipa, California local. Good to see him healthy again. But there is the lineup, folks. As we take a look at our Honda starting grid, Stewart, Hepler, Brown, Walker, Ramsey, Ivan Tedesco, Davey Millsap's also in there, Chris Gosler, Greg Schnell, just to name a few. I think this is the lineup, though, BJ, that everyone has been waiting to see. It is the final event of the season, and there's nothing like a full grid here at Glen Helen.
And there's nothing like James Bubba Stewart on a 4-stroke. He hasn't pulled a start since Mont Morris.
as if the young man needed some more power. Bubba sitting on a thumper as he talked to Davey Coombs moments ago. This is motor number 1 in the 125 class, and look at Bubba go.
Look at him look over twice at the guys. Looks like Ivan Tedesco is going to get the start.
Tedesco to the outside, pushing Smith wide, but Tedesco will get the whole shot. Ivan Tedesco looking like the Supercross 125 West champion, but on the inside it is 259, another Kawasaki who steals it away.
It's all about just holding it on longer, coming into the corner, and getting up the hill as fast as you can. A little change in the track this year. They're coming right up Mount St. Helens right away this year and right back down.
And we will try to lay out as much as possible this telecast so you can get used to the sound of 259 James Bubba Stewart riding that 4-stroke.
It's kind of weird not hearing a 2-stroke out there, is it?
Exactly. The Kawasaki's right now out in front at 188. Davey Millsap's breaking that up. And I think this is the kind of performance, BJ, that a lot of people were hoping to see out of this young man this year.
This is what he needed to start. Before the season started, he was saying how nervous he was on the starts, but I don't think that's the case anymore. I'd be nervous at the top of that hill, though.
Tedesco takes him high, parks him, 122 comes through, and then Tedesco 29 in third. So it's the Kawasaki's right now running 1, 2, and 3. Bubba Stewart, Walker, and Tedesco, your top leaders. This is moto number 1 here at Glen Helen.
Look at this. We're going down what they call Bud's Creek, named after Bud Feldkamp, Dr. Feldkamp, and Bubba's already gone.
Yeah, this doesn't bode well for enticing action. Bubba checking out early. He's already wrapped up the title in the 125 class, making the jump to the 4-stroke, on the 250.
This is the muddy straightaway. Oh, Ivan Tedesco catches a rut, cross-rutted. This is what they call the muddy straight. It's all just lines and lines of ruts, and it's deep.
Ivan Tedesco on the 4-stroke, so he's going to deal with some 4-stroke fever. And it's just, you saw that coming. I mean, that was just unbelievable.
He's hurting right now, too. I mean, the ground looks soft out there, but it's not. It's not soft at all. And when you cross-rut, it's all over with.
So Davey Millsaps inherits third place. It is still James Stewart out in front, Matt Walker in second, and Davey Millsaps, number 188 on the Suzuki, sitting in third.
We're going to look at a replay of this crash right here. Look at Ivan come in, cross-rut, feet off the pegs, and those ruts just grabbed that front wheel and jerked him right off the bike. He's lucky Danny Smith didn't run right over his head.
Ivan Tedesco goes into the fetal position as if a grizzly bear was on top of him, covering up, has a moment, gets up, and gets the bike going again.
And that's the most frustrating thing, too. It is so hot out there today. You fall, you're in second place. The last thing you want to do is try to get up and catch all these guys again.
Well, you had a chance to ride this track. Is there a good rhythm to Glen Helen this year with the changes they've made?
I didn't get to ride the track last year, so it's hard to compare, the two different changes, and I got to ride the track when it was a lot smoother. I mean, it's rough out there right now, and you can get a rhythm going, but when you break that rhythm in a fall like that, it's so hard to get up and get going again.
Josh Grant, we welcome him back off of injury, currently running in 6th place. Here's a young man that Honda and Shift have high hopes for. Here's a kid just a few months basically removed from racing on Saturdays at Glen Helen, and now he's in the big show.
And that's the kind of way you want to come in. Unlike his rival Mike Alessi coming in with all the hype, he came in way, way under the radar, pulls the first pole shot of the season in his first race ever. And a lot of promise out of him from that as Danny Smith, the veteran, is giving him a fight.
Danny Smith, number 59 on board the Yamaha, takes the inside line, shuts down Grant, and look at him coming right back. He's gonna try something.
I like this, how they disappear right out of the shot, slingshot right back in.
Smith pushing it wide once again, holding off Grant's line.
So many different elements to this track. I mean, look at this uphill right here. This is what they call Yamaha Hill. Even when the track's smooth, the rut there, the ruts and the kickers, they're everywhere.
Well, you talked about the heat today, BJ. I mean, this track being as tough as it is, brutal, that coupled with the heat is going to be, we're going to probably see some guys really putter out in the last couple laps.
That was one of the things that we saw here in 1993. We had the race at Glen Helen in August, the first time ever. Doug Henry was going for the 125 championship, ended up, he was dehydrated, had to get some IVs at the end of the day. AMA doesn't allow that anymore, but that's got to be a concern for these guys today. Hydration is key.
BJ Smith, a veritable cornucopia of history and knowledge, folks. That's why we've got him on board. When we come back, we'll have much more of the 125 Moto number 1. Can Bubba dominate all the way through? Stay with us. The 2004 AMA Chevrolet Motocross Championships are brought to you by Suzuki, maker of performance-driven motorcycles, scooters, and all-terrain vehicles. By Honda, the company that defines performance in motorcycles, ATVs, personal watercraft, and scooters. By Chevrolet, 10 new cars and trucks in 20 months, the new Chevrolets, an American revolution. And by Cycle World Magazine, the most widely read and trusted source for motorcycling information. And we are back to Glen Helen. Let's quickly check in with Davey Coombs.
Well, J-Bone, obviously, Bubba is making a pretty good transition to four-stroke. How was it for you going from working from a KX125 to a KX250F?
Well, I would have to say, you know, obviously there's more work putting it together, but the maintenance through the day is definitely a lot easier. It feels like kind of a vacation today, but you know, I had a lot of help from Dean Baker. He did the motor, actually, so made it kind of nice for me.
Well, obviously, Bubba's leading right now. Would you say he's faster on a two-stroke or a four-stroke?
Well, I'd have to say by the looks of it, the four-stroke. I think it's probably good we didn't ride it all year. I think it made it a little bit more fair.
Maybe life's not fair, but when you're winning on a two-stroke by a minute, what's he going to do to them today?
The mystery that is solving the speed of James Bubba Stewart. Congratulations also to Jeremy Albrecht, J-Bone, and his wife on their new little boy. They call him T-Bone, so we got a J-Bone and a T-Bone. Meanwhile, Brock Hepler currently running in 4th place here in motor number 1.
T-Bone, that's making me hungry. Well, it looks like the Rookie of the Year is going after his teammate, Davey Millsaps. And we've been seeing a lot of that this year. But Hepler's been getting the best of him.
But the best news is both these young men will be racing for Roger DeCoster with another young man named Ricky Carmichael. So that has got to become the new dream team on the Supercross motocross circuit.
You got that right. And Davey Millsaps just a few miles from where Carmichael trains. That's going to be a big help for the youngster.
Well, take your pick your poison. Which one of these guys do you like better? You got Millsaps, you got Hepler. Tell me the differences.
Well, 2 different personalities, 2 different riding styles. Davey's a little more outgoing, and he's going to show that on the track. Brock tends to keep to himself in the pits and on the street. On the track, a little more reserved, calculated, waits, he's patient. But these guys are both going places, I'll tell you that.
No question about that. Let's send it back down to the pits. That's where Davey Coombs is caught up with Davey Millsaps' mechanic.
Carlos, I see you taking times on Davey. A very good start for him.
Yeah, he did a very good start, and he looks like he's been consistent so far, so let's see how everything goes.
How's his condition? I mean, I know he's from Georgia, but this is a different kind of heat out here.
He's pretty used to the heat, you know, and I believe he's doing good right now, and his bike looking good, he's looking good. Let's see, hoping for a good result. Thank you.
Well, they might call it a dry heat out there, but I don't understand why you still get all wet.
It's not the heat, it's the humidity what gets you.
Yeah.
188 right now, looking very good. Right behind him, number 60, Brock Hepler, 2 of the bright and shining stars of the future of this sport.
This is where you pick up a lot of time, too, on these downhills. You know, how much do you got? How much do you want to let it hang out?
Well, right now, Davey Millsaps is showing quite a bit. Number 188, and we remind you, he had a couple bad finishes this year because of the bike. He had some mechanical problems, but I think this kid gets a full year under his belt. He's going to do some great things next year. Look at Hepler taking that inside line, pops right back out.
Look at Davey looking over to see where he is. He's going to try to go to the inside.
Spent too much time. Spent too much time trying to block his line.
But that set him up for the inside on this next corner.
So Hepler gets the position. Brock Hepler goes to 3rd place. Davey Millsaps will now slide back to 4th.
I've been seeing a lot of this from Brock. I'd like to see him get a hole shot and see where he can go from there.
A lot of these guys would like to get a hole shot and get an opportunity. Unfortunately, this man is ruining the party. James Stewart may not get the hole shot, but for anyone who thinks this young man can't ride from the back of the pack, I think you're sorely mistaken. James Bubba Stewart already clinching the title this year, turning out on a 4-stroke. He's on the KX250, and I think the fit's pretty good there, BJ.
Well, funny thing is, before we even went to the line, he was saying, I got all this power, I don't even know what to do with it. There's just way too much power here.
And that's a scary thought.
Yeah, which leads us all to believe what would have been like all this year if he'd have been on this bike. And that's what Kawasaki wants to see.
Right.
They want to see this bike up on the podium too. Smart move on all parts.
Well, let's don't look to the past, let's look to the future. And I can tell you what, Supercross on January 8th, Anaheim 1 will be phenomenal. This young man will be there in the 250 class, and then looking forward to the 250 Outdoor Nationals next year.
Very good point. Ricky Carmichael was talking about that last week in the press conference. He said, if anyone's going to take me down, it's going to be Bubba. Look how far ahead he is already. This is the battle for second between Matt Walker and Brock Kepler.
Matt Walker having a great run as of late, showing a lot of consistency. I know that the folks at Kawasaki loving that. Number 122, Matt Walker currently running in second place. Brock Kepler behind him. Number 60 on board the Suzuki runs in third. This is moto number 1 from Glen Helen.
And the Stalker leading the charge for Team Pro Circuit Kawasaki. Really been a blessing for those guys this summer.
Well, we got problems on the side of the track. Looks like Ryan Moraes. Let's check in with Davey.
Down here in the pits, check it out, guys. Ryan Moraes doing a one-time ride out of a shop. He is in the mechanics area. A Honda Houston rider getting his bars straightened out. Remember, Moraes was 7th overall in the first National of the Year at Hangtown, and he's been hit or miss since then. Looks like no points this time.
Oh, that's unfortunate, BJ. I mean, he's one of those kids that's shown some flashes of brilliance, and just the consistency hasn't been there for him.
Well, as you saw Ivan do on the first lap, so easy to go down on this track. And when you're running at the speeds this track lets you go, you're going to bend some stuff.
This is the battle for second. 122, the Kawasaki on the right is Matt Walker. And here comes Brock Kepler going with the BJ Smith slingshot, bringing it around. And look at the speed he's taking into this.
He's going for it again. Look at that stand low over the big tabletop, and he's got the inside line once again. Let's see if he bumps him out. Bumps him out twice, throwing the knee out there. And you know Walker, what he does when that happens, he doesn't like that.
Yeah, Matt Walker's not one for close confines, but Brock Kepler was a clean pass. He just had the right line.
And he got away quick, and that's what you need to do. You got to make your move and get away.
Bubba Stewart's been doing that all year. When we come back, we'll see if James can wrap up Moto 1 after this short break. No question about that. Welcome back to Glen Helen. This is the 12th and final stop of the AMA Chevrolet Motocross Championship. Your leader, James Bubba Stewart, as we are watching a battle for fourth here in Moto number 1 between 35. That is Chris Gosler. The Goose is on the loose, just getting ahead of 188, Davey Millsap.
Watching little Goose go by Davey on that downhill. He's looking over. He's been doing that a lot today. I don't know what he's looking for, but it's just time to look ahead, Davey.
Chris Gosler now slides into fourth. Davey Millsaps, unfortunately, has slid back to fifth, so he has dropped 2 positions. Meanwhile, James Stewart is out in front. Brock Kepler and Matt Walker running 2 and 3, respectively.
Here's little Goose, number 35. Interesting story this year. Had shoulder surgery early this year. He shouldn't have even come back at round 1. It's been a really struggle all the way up to Unadilla. He can barely hold on to the bike halfway through the race. And he's saying it's not fatigue. I'm not getting tired. I just can't hold on. My shoulder is killing me. And in this last half of the season, he's really making a charge for it.
So Goose still on the mend. Chris Gosler, number 35. Of course, his father, Mike Gosler, the mechanic for the best rider on the planet right now, that being Ricky Carmichael.
And he's been living down at Ricky Carmichael's house this summer. Actually got an apartment down there near Tallahassee. And Ursula, Ricky, Big Rick, Jeannie, all helping out little Goose. And let's look at this pass one more time on him. Comes to the outside. This sets him up for the inside on the downhill. And he's taking the roughest line there is down there. And like Ricky Carmichael will tell you, sometimes you just got to hang it out, take the roughest line, and make the pass. Make it happen.
Easier said than done, but this time it's a high risk, high reward for him.
There's his mechanic, Frankie Latham, loves to get into the show.
Frankie Latham doing a great job right now as his riders moved in. Let's spend a moment with him. Let's check in with Davey Coombs, who is trackside.
Frankie Goose rode an inspired race in Steel City. It looks like he's right back on that program, battling for a podium spot.
Yeah, he was really bummed last week he didn't get third, and he has something to prove. He's pretty bummed, so hopefully he can stay where he is and we can go for the overall to get on third.
We've seen you get pretty far out on the track. How far out? Could you get to the other side of the track if you tried?
I don't know. Who knows? If he made me mad enough, I'm sure.
Well, Little Goose ended up 4th at Steel City, tied for 3rd, 1 place out of 2nd. That's a bummer.
Yeah, they were pushing for him. I saw Ricky Carmichael out there holding up podium, no less, and even RC couldn't will him onto the podium. We got a great battle going here, though.
8th place, Greg Schnell, 52. Kelly Smith, number 33.
Kelly Smith, what do you make of his situation right now? Where do you hear him going next year?
Well, what we do know is that he's got one more year with Yamaha Troy, but it's hard to say where his mindset right now is, Todd, is because his wife's at home in Michigan about ready to have a baby. But one person that we don't know where he's going to be next year is number 52. That's Greg Schnell.
Greg Schnell currently, we do know where he is. He's sitting in 9th place right now here in Moto number 1 at Glen Helen, trying to track down the ever-elusive 259 James Bubba Stewart, who is your leader. Sliding back up to the field, look at Smith. Starting to pull away from Schnell. Look at, he's definitely on the power band through that section.
It's kind of been a tough year for both of these guys. Schnell having to deal with injuries. I mean, he's a former Supercross winner, so for him to be back and battling for 9th place, that's just not where he wants to be right now.
Speaking of 259, there's James Bubba Stewart. If you're just joining us, he has made the switch over to a 4-stroke. There's Big James. Looking a lot calmer than he did a few weeks ago at Washougal.
For sure, but Junior on the gas on the 4-stroke, got about a 45-second lead, so no complaints from either party, I'd say.
James Bubba Stewart, your 125 outdoor national champion for 2004, and decided, well, I've got it wrapped up, let's try some new equipment out. And you heard his mechanic, Jeremy Albrecht, say it's a lot easier for him to work on, and this kid's making it just look so easy to ride.
Well, it is. A 4-stroke's easier to ride. I wouldn't say it's easier to work on, but there's a lot less routine maintenance with 125. I mean, there's always little things that you've got to adjust. With the 4-stroke, you can just roll with it.
Well, let's spend another moment down the track with Davey Coombs.
Check out pulling into the pits, number 386. That's Josh Grant of the Factory Connection AMS Oil Chaparral team. Looking back, his mechanic must have crashed in the back. He was running top 10, but he is now out of the race.
All right, thank you very much, Davey. Sad to see that happen. Injury bug bites him, and then the mechanical bug bites him. Meanwhile, James Stewart is on the victory white flag parade lap. And even when he's on the parade lap or the victory lap, he's still going fast, BJ.
Yeah, I mean, for his speed, he's cruising right now, but at the average Joe like you or I, he's still hauling.
James Stewart has been as good as Bill this year. He came out focused, determined. The perfect season kind of went away with a mechanical snafu. Really nothing anyone could have done. It was just a mechanical situation where he had a little problem with some levers, and Bubba didn't let that set him back. He came back the next week even stronger and just put the wood to the rest of the competition. But here at Glen Helen on the new toy, James Bubba Stewart has been phenomenal.
Makes me wonder what he thinks about when he's got a lead like this. He's pointing to his friends, hey, giving the nod here and there. What's going through his mind right now?
I don't know, he might be thinking about that Two Brothers Racing gold KLX 110 he's got packed.
Would you ride it?
I don't know if I'd ride it, because if you ride it, you're going to have to clean it. And how do you clean something? I can't wheel that power washer out on that thing.
You take it to the jewelry store.
There you go. The checkered flag comes out. Your winner, Moto number 1, James Bubba Stewart. When we come back, we'll talk. Welcome back to Glen Helen, the 9th annual Giant RV Nationals at Glen Helen, San Bernardino, California. A tremendous Moto number 1. If you're a 259 fan, he's standing by with Davey.
Well, James, obviously you took to the 4-stroke pretty darn quick.
But I was out there riding. I had to be the laziest man on earth out there. It's like, working so hard on the 2-stroke, winning these races and stuff. I get on the 4-stroke, and I tell you, dude, it's gnarly. So, I'm just having a good time out there. I got to thank Dean Baker, dude. This bike's running awesome.
Wow. I don't know about the laziest man out there, but that's pretty impressive. If you take a look at the Suzuki final results, it's Stewart, Hepler, Walker, Gosler, and Millsap, your top 3, back down to Davey.
I just crashed in the back. I was trying to go a little bit too fast. James was checking out on me. For people who's not here to witness it, it's just unreal. I just try to get as close to him as I can to see how to make up speed. But just a phenomenal rider, and it's a privilege to be racing with him and to be up there running with him, But, yeah, I just crashed and skinned my elbow up a little bit. But, yeah. I always think Pro Circuit when I get on the podium. Everybody at home knows I ride for Kawasaki Pro Circuit, but today I just want to give thanks to the men in uniform who's allowing us to race and be safe. And I got a lot of friends over there in Iraq fighting, and I just want to thank all you guys for doing what you do. Thanks a lot.
And we are back to Glen Helen, set for Moto number 2. Before we do that, let's check in with Davey Coombs.
Well, all week long here in Southern California, the talk was about just how hot it was going to be here on Sunday. Yesterday during practice, it was well past 100 degrees, but the riders got a little bit of a reprieve. In fact, it's about mid-90s, a little bit overcast. no one is having to worry about the weather like we thought before, but as Bubba told us at the end of the first moto, he's from Florida, it doesn't really matter anyway. And again, this is James Stewart's last 125 national moto. He wins this one, he shatters his own record, 11 wins in one season.
All right, thank you, Davey, for the knowledge. As we get set for moto number 2, we take a look at our Honda starting grid. It's Stewart, Hepler, Brown, Walker, Ramsey, Desco, Millsap, Smith, Josh Grant back in there, so he's got his mechanical fix. Chris Gosler, who had a great run, as did Greg Schnell in moto number 1. With this being the final moto in 125 for our man, Mr. 259, Bubba Stewart, what do you expect from him, BJ?
Well, I mean, obviously he's going to go for it. He wants to win. He wants to put the 4-stroke on the podium, at the top of the podium, and he probably wants to beat everyone by 2 minutes.
It's the final run for James Bubba Stewart in the 125 class. His 259 nonchalantly comes out of the pack on that big 4-stroke. And he's going to pick up a hole shot with Nate Ramsey to his left.
This is the first hole shot we've seen from Bubba since Mont Morris earlier this year, which is kind of a surprise because that uphill start there, but man, it's gone already.
Bubba's got a brand new toy. So as the pack continues to thin out, James Stewart starts to pull away, and if you're just joining us, he is on the 4-stroke, and he is making it work. Nate Ramsey, though, got a great start. He currently sits in second. Here comes Walker and Tedesco on the inside.
Imagine if James wasn't out front. This would be our battle for first right now.
And it'd be a great battle. Ivan Tedesco would be in second. Number 29 on board the Kawasaki. Another pro circuit rider, Matt Walker, 122, the other green bike, and Nate Ramsey on the Honda, number 25.
Look at this. Bubba's not even in the picture anymore. He's so far out front. We're halfway through the first lap.
Brock Hepler having a great run. He gets into the mix. Hepler now sits in 4th place, number 60 on board the Suzuki out of Kittanning, Pennsylvania. He had a great run, and we got
Kawasaki down. That's Matt Walker.
Well, he showed Davey Coombs his road rash on the right arm. It looks like he may be adding to that, gets the bike up and going immediately, so it looks like he's going to drop about 8 positions. Here's a spot where Ivan Tedesco had his problems in motor number 1. Is he picking a nice little rut there? Oh!
Brock Hepler.
As we say that, does almost exactly what Ivan Tedesco did, but unfortunately he's not popping up as fast.
A little later down the straight, it looks like he landed on his upper body, his shoulder really hard. Same thing though, cross-rutted. And it's 10 times as rough now as it was earlier today.
Well, the flat snake bite another rider as Brock Hepler goes down hard. We'll get a replay of that momentarily. Meanwhile, the racing goes on, and Smith and Gosler now having a battle.
That's Danny Smith, Little Goose up there again in 5th. And with Walker in the back, Hepler possibly out of the race. Goose is looking for his first podium here. Which honestly, Todd, I think he's been riding good enough today that he could have got it if those guys ran her out.
Oh, man. So a series of crashes here on the first lap. The first one coming with Matt Walker, BJ. What went wrong here?
Just comes down the hill. He's looking ahead. He's looking forward. Oh, man, he got, twice. And they're coming down this hill hard. I mean, whatever speed you're going at the top of the hill, you're going to be carrying that same speed at the bottom of the hill. And I don't think they intentionally meant to hit him, but...
You guys, check it out. This is the rookie, Tommy Hahn, pulling into the pits, apparently involved in a pileup. Donnie McGordy from Team Green is also out, and we still have not seen Brock Hepler, although Lee McCollum is taking the tool belt off. So it sounds like our first moto runner-up is out of this moto, and Tommy Hahn is at the back of the pack.
As I got cut off by DC there, I mean, there's a lot of guys going out already.
Yeah, great report, Davey Coombs. Unfortunately, in that first lap, a lot of speed. Boy, I tell you, Matt Walker is lucky to have his melon still attached.
Yeah, as I was saying, I mean, we're going to see that hill again here shortly. They don't mean to come down the hill that fast, but whatever you turn the power on at the top of the hill is what you're going to be carrying at the bottom. And, you know, Matt just slid out. That's all there was to it. And he's down again.
Well, this might be carryover from that first injury. Matt Walker, tough as nails. Looks like they're working on his left-hand side. There's Lee McCollum bringing in Brock Hepler's bike.
Lee, what happened?
I don't know, really. The best that I can tell you is that he crashed somewhere back in the back where nobody could really see, and he landed on his shoulder, hurt his shoulder, but he's up and walking. He's conscious, so I don't think he's banged up too bad, but he did hurt his shoulder.
Well, at least you guys clinched second in the standings in the first moto, if that's any consolation.
Yeah, he had a good first moto, and we were looking to have a good second moto, but not to be. So second place is good, though, and we accomplished what we wanted to. Thanks.
Todd, this is nothing but a war zone here. The last moto of the season, and the top guys are getting hurt. Let's look at it right there, cross, right? You see that? The front tire was all the way to the left. The back tire was at the right side. And just spinning right off.
I couldn't tell if it was the left or the right shoulder. More problems down in the pit area.
Guys, I was just talking to Ken Fott, former dirt rider, about what happened. Walker went off the track and he tried to come back in. A couple journalists lifted the banners up. He got him caught in his front wheel, and he tried to take off. It locked the front wheel up and threw him over the handlebars. So that's what happened to Matt Walker.
All right, thank you, Davey. I tell you, Matt Walker cannot buy a break. Meanwhile, another Pro Circuit Kawasaki rider, Ivan Tedesco, carries on the banner, and here comes the rest of the field.
After Ivan's crashed in the first moto, I found out he crashed and they had some problems with the motor, some oil leaking out from that crash. So a 39th and a DNF from him. He's running second now.
Unbelievable.
And Danny Smith running third place. This is the first time we've seen him up in the podium, running up the podium this year.
Being chased by number 35, that is Chris Gosler, having a great run here at Glen Helen. When we come back, we'll see how this whole thing shakes down after this. Welcome back to Glen Helen. That is Brock Hepler walking away. It looks like the left shoulder where he went down the hardest. Meanwhile, James Bubba Stewart continues to lead here in Moto number 2. This is the 12th and final round of the AMA Chevrolet Motocross Championship. Todd Harris along with B.J. Smith in the house and Davey Coombs manning the track. Great battle for third place right here. Smith, Ramsey, Gosler all contending.
No change so far in this battle. Smith still up in the podium position. It's nice to see that. What happened there?
Danny Smith, the Boost Mobile Yamaha Troy rider. Did the bike just...
I don't know. Both those guys went to the outside. He went to the inside. He was already out of view.
It came to a stop.
Looked like his bike was doing a dance.
Unbelievable. Meanwhile, the race goes on. That is 35, Chris Gosler. So he moved up yet another position. So the Goose, by virtue of attrition, is moving up the ladder.
And Todd, I guess right now we got Tedesco in second, Ramsey in third, Gosler in fourth. Well, Schnell's out of it.
Man, Greg Schnell now, and he's got some serious leg. You can just look at that left side. Not wanting to put any pressure on that left boot.
That's on the way up one of the hills there.
Yeah, Greg Schnell's a pretty tough guy, so that's got to be somewhat of a serious injury. Meanwhile, Nathan Ramsey now sits in third, so Gosler's in fourth.
As I was saying earlier, a 4-4 right now would give Gosler second place overall, and Ramsey 11th in the first moto. I don't know, we'd have to check some other results, but depending on where Kelly Smith is right now, the battle for the podium is third place is looking kind of ugly as far as results
exactly.
go.
It mine's back a few stops ago with Paul Carpenter. Had a great first moto, had a terrible second one, still ended up on the podium, picked up a refrigerator from his good friend James Stewart. So Nate Ramsey's starting to dance around just a little bit. Meanwhile, Chris Gosler's having a tremendous run. Speaking of Gosler, let's sit it back down to Davey Coombs and check in with his mechanic.
Well, Frankie, kind of a crazy start to this moto. Both Hepler and Walker go out. You guys are fourth the first moto. Looking good for that first podium outdoors.
Yeah, it is. Chris has been working really hard, and hopefully things go our way and something can work out.
Are you going to tell them that the other two guys are out?
I don't know. I'll leave that up to management, but right now we just want him to charge and get a gap, and then I would say a little later in the moto we will.
But that's the last thing I think he needs to hear right now, that his teammates are out. I mean, he's battling for his first ever podium outdoors. Lots of podiums in Supercross, but none in the outdoors. And here's a kid who in '98 pulled his first ever hole shot ever, just like Josh Grant did this year at Hangtown.
Well, I say just let him ride, because the way he's riding right now, giving Nate Ramsey all that he can handle. Ramsey was right up there at the hole shot with James Bubba Stewart. Look at this, Gosler trying to go to the inside.
Goose a little bit lighter than Ramsey, can carry a little more speed up that straight. It's smooth. You'll see guys pulling their hands off the handlebar and waving to their friends around the sidelines along that straight. It's the only smooth reprieve, and there's the pass.
So Gosler gets it done. And I'll tell you what, he's adding the most pressure on himself. He doesn't need to hear about his other teammates. Just let him ride. Chris Gosler now sitting in third place and having a tremendous ride here at Glen Helen.
Yeah, he's been practicing with the best. I mean, he's been staying with Ricky Carmichael this summer, like we said. You know, he's been given all the advice he can handle this summer.
This is moto number 2 from Glen Helen. Your leader is James Bubba Stewart. Ivan Tedesco sits in second, and Chris Gosler in third. Nathan Ramsey in fourth as you slide back to Mike Brown, number 3, Yamaha rider, who will be making his home in Europe in the coming years.
And if I were Mike Brown right now, considering the top talent that we had already go out of the race, I'd just be playing it safe.
Yeah, but when has Brownie ever played it safe?
Well, you can't.
He's always wide open.
That's one of the things you can argue right now. It's the last moto of the season. I mean, do you play it safe? Do you just, what's the word I'm looking for? Do you just kind of take a dive almost? But no, you can't. These fans come out to see these guys try their hardest. They want to see their heroes run. These guys all want to win. It's in their blood. It's what they do. It's how they make their living.
Not to mention the sponsor pressure that, you know, they want them to do a great ride for them. You lay down for a sponsor, and maybe the next time you go sign with somebody, they're like, oh, I remember that Glen Helen race when you phoned it in Moto 2.
Exactly. That's why you got a guy like Brock Hepler, who's got Rookie of the Year and second place wrapped up, and he's still charging as hard as he can.
So the battle rages on here at Glen Helen. Let's send it down trackside one more time, and Davey Coombs.
Been a lot of activity in this moto, but Kelly's putting together another solid moto. You guys are battling for a podium.
We hope so. We're looking at, I think Gosler and Ramsey are going to make it in front of us, but he's going to push it hard. It's the last go-around, so we're going to give it everything we got.
A nice effort for the last race of the year.
You bet. Yeah, he's had his head somewhere else. His wife's at home about to have a baby, so he's pushing hard. We hope we can do it.
All right, good luck.
Thanks.
Well, there's your answer. That's where his head is. He's trying to keep that bike rubber side down and get on that podium. Meanwhile, thinking about his wife at home. Your leader, James Stewart. What's he thinking about? You asked this earlier, BJ. What's going through his mind on his brand new toy? He's out there just lighting up the field.
He's probably thinking about which car he should drive tomorrow morning when he gets home. That or how far out front can I get in this moto?
And as always, our thoughts and prayers with his family and those affected by the latest hurricane to come through. When we come back, we'll find out if the hurricane that is James Stewart can wrap this thing up after this. And we are back to Glen Helen. This is the AMA Chevrolet Motocross Championships, the 9th annual Giant RV AMA Nationals at Glen Helen. Todd Harris along with BJ Smith and Davey Coombs, and this is a great battle as Smith has got ahead of Brown.
Yeah, it's finally paid off, and Smith may be in line for that last podium spot. A 6.5 for a podium.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's kind of like musical chairs when you have that many riders go down early on. Everyone's scrambling to move up the ladder.
That's what he did at Unadilla. He got a 6.5, got on the podium.
So we come to the waning moments of Moto number 2 as we put a wrap on the 2004 outdoor season. And what a season it's been. Headlined by the domination again of James Bubba Stewart, but a lot of great riding by riders like Danny Smith, Kelly Smith, Mike Brown, and the rest of the list goes on and on.
And that's the funny thing. You look at the point spread. I mean, you're looking at 175 plus points from first to second. The battle for first would have been unbelievable had Stewart not been here, but
right. It is what it is, and James Bubba Stewart is exactly that, a dominating factor on the scene as he makes the jump next year to the 250 class. Meanwhile, it's been clear sailing for him, and look at him whip that thing around. I mean, it's a heavier bike, it's a bigger bike.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it just doesn't matter.
52 seconds.
You gotta be kidding me. So a relatively easy day for Jeremy Albrecht, and after last week, the welcome his new son. A little stress off him. A new bike for his rider, BJ, but like you said, it just doesn't matter.
You know, we're doing about 13 laps on this track today with 30 minutes plus 2 laps and 52 seconds. My math isn't that good, but that's 4 seconds a lap.
It's fast. That's all they're saying.
He comes up Mount St. Helen, jumps right into the corner, powers down the hill.
Unbelievable. Let's spend a moment with Davey Coombs.
J-Bone, wild start to this moto, but your guy right up there like clockwork.
Yeah, it was cool. You know, we haven't really got any hole shots in a while, I think, since Mount Morris, which was kind of a surprise with uphill. But yeah, it's cool to see him out front. He's going for it. We're having fun with a new bike. 4-stroke's always cool to ride. And looks like he likes it.
When are you guys going to clean out the lockers and go full-time KX 250?
Anaheim. From then on, we're going for it. He'll be good.
And and that's what everybody wants to see.
Yep. January 8th, 2005, that man will be lining up on the 250, probably main event starting grid with Ricky Carmichael, Chad Reed, Travis Pastrana, Jeremy McGrath, Tim Ferry, Ezra Les, the list goes on and on, David Villeman.
That's one heck of a lineup right there.
Oh my gosh, maybe the best ever assembled in the sport of Supercross or Motocross as James Stewart begins what is the farewell tour for the folks that turned out to Glen Helen despite the heat and the dust and the difficult time getting here. James has certainly made it worth their while.
And this is it. He's going for his 28th career motocross win in only 31 starts.
As the checkered flag comes out, your winner for the final time in the 125 class, Moto 2 winner and overall winner on the day at Glen Helen, James Stewart Jr. on board the Kawasaki. As we take a look at our Suzuki final results, it's Stewart, Tedesco, and Chris Gosler going top 3, so tremendous performance by the Goose. And his dad, very proud. Ricky Carmichael's mechanic, Mike Gosler, there to greet his son and tell him the news. You got it. Let's check in with Davey.
Well, James, that is the way to close out a 125 career. That might have been the most convincing win of all, and you do it in your last race on a 250F.
Man, I tell you, man, it's been a great 125 career. You know, I broke the record, like you said earlier, for all the most wins in the season. And, man, I tell you, man, I'm going to miss this class. You know, it's moving uptown now, and hopefully I can continue doing the same thing. And, you know, I just want to thank everybody. Thank you.
Well, congratulations to James on a successful career and a championship as we take a look at the Suzuki overalls. It's Stewart, Gosler, and Ramsey on the podium.
Well, Chris, congratulations, man. Second overall.
Yeah, I feel good. I mean, this is my first outdoor podium ever. I mean, it feels so good.
I seen your dad come over here. He's got Carmichael on the starting line, but you can see the look in his face. He's real excited.
Yeah, I mean, I want to thank Ricky and Jeannie and Big Rick and Ursula, the whole family. I stayed there all summer, and Ricky's helped me just so much, and I owe it all to him.
Good job.
Thank you.
Well, there you see the final standings on the year. Bubba Stewart goes 575 and picks up yet another title. Brock Hepler will get second. Mike Brown will get third overall. It has been a fantastic season here on the AMA Chevrolet Motocross circuit. On behalf of BJ Smith and Davey Coombs, I'm Todd Harris saying so long from Glen Helen. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Your winner and champ, James Bubba Stewart.